So for the next 2 months, or until I go back to school after the summer, this is going to be the gym I'm going to be working out in. What's going on, guys? So I know I haven't posted in about a week now, but I've been putting my attention and my focus to actually studying for a personal training certification exam by the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I've been focusing on that. I'm probably going to take that test, or I plan to take that test in a couple weeks. So I'll let you guys know how that goes when I take it. But really, I've just been rethinking how I want to do the videos on my channel and the stuff I want to be posting on my channel. And I think I'm going to start to move away from the demonstration and technique type of stuff and go back to kind of where I started when I first started posting on YouTube. And that was just doing my dunk progress stuff and doing occasional workouts, posting occasional workouts. So changing the focus again to, instead of doing technique and demonstration stuff, to more dunk progress and showing you guys dunk sessions and stuff to just track that. So right now I'm at a new gym. It's actually not a new gym. This is actually where I first started playing basketball when I was in like first grade in my old hometown where I grew up in. So I'm gonna show you guys this gym today. Might do a dunk session. I really don't know how crowded this gym is gonna be, or if the basketball court's even open. So I'll find out when I get in there. But this will be the new gym I go to for the rest of the time that I'm home for the summer. So I'll see you guys in the gym. Alright, so I'm about to start warming up. I'm going to do this with no cut so you guys can see how I go through it and keep it intense. So here we go. Alright guys, so in this commentary I want to go over this dunk session, but I want to go over 3 things in particular. One of them is going to be how I felt going into this warm-up and what was different about this one. What went wrong and what didn't feel right during the dunk session, and then the things I noticed after actually editing this video that I could take away and actually apply to future dunk sessions. So to start off with, the first thing was this warm-up. So I said right there in the previous clip that I wanted to show you guys this completely uncut and show you kind of how I go through it without any rest or with minimal rest, and I try to keep it intense and explosive throughout the entire time. So if you guys have watched my most recent videos, my friend has been dunking with me in these dunk sessions and actually going through the warm-up and everything, and I immediately noticed that this dunk session felt different from the beginning because of that, just because I was in this gym by myself, and it's just so much different when somebody is there pushing you and you're there competing with somebody else in a sense. And I think without having the other person there, now that I'm thinking about it more from even previous dunk sessions, is that makes a huge difference just from the start of the session, and then that energy carries on into the rest of the session. So if somebody else is there, it just brings added energy, added competitiveness, and just really makes the dunk session feel more enjoyable. And again, I think that just shows that it's not necessarily about just dunking or necessarily just about, working out, but it's that if somebody else is there with you doing it, it makes the entire thing a complete experience, and I have just more fun doing it when somebody else is there. So that was the biggest thing that I noticed, just doing this warm up and going through it was just a feeling that was kind of like I was doing this by myself, and I didn't have that energy. I didn't have that competitive feeling or that competitive drive without someone else there. Now, that's not to say I can't bring that energy on my own, and I can't, improve and change that mindset for future dunk sessions, but it's just something I took note of specifically in this one. So that was from the beginning, and then as I was going through the warm-up, I just noticed that, again, this is another added part of being by yourself going through these sessions, is that I noticed I just think through things a little bit too much sometimes. Like I'll think about the movements I'm doing or what I'm going to do next, or how I'm doing a certain exercise or even a certain warm-up exercise like I was doing here, or I'll stop and think about the next thing I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. And when somebody else is there, I notice that none of that's really going through my head. It just kind of creates a flow, and we just go on from one thing to the next. And I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing wrong or questioning the next thing I'm going to do. It's just it just continues. And I think that was part of the reason why at the beginning of this warm-up I told you guys I was going to record this completely uncut, so that way it kind of created this mindset that I was going to show you guys that I was going to do this complete warm-up without any breaks, so it was going to force me to kind of continue with it and kind of force me to mimic the warm-up as if somebody else was there with me doing it. So I did complete this whole warm-up without taking that long of breaks or anything, and I finished off this warm-up with the sprints that you guys just saw, and then some hip rotations, and then after that is when I actually got into the dunk session, and that'll get me to my second point, which I want to start pointing out some of the things that I noticed that didn't go so well from the beginning of this dunk session and then throughout the entire dunk session. So going into this session, I don't think I took a long enough rest period from the last time I worked out and dunked, because before this I had worked out the day before this, and then I dunked the day before that. I didn't record any of that. I was just there with my friends and I was just dunking. But I noticed that something that I'll do if I am feeling soreness in my knee, my left knee, or if I'm just not feeling fully recovered, is that I'll do this left-right drop step plant. And I haven't taken note of that before until looking at this edit, but when I do that, I feel like I'm doing it because I want to load up my left leg because it's feeling weak, or because it feels like it needs to be stretched out, which you guys just saw there. So yeah, that's one of the things I noticed that I did in this session that I usually won't do if I'm feeling good going into the dunk session. So that was one of the things. And another one was that these jumps at the beginning felt really good. Like I felt like I was getting pretty high, I just wasn't hitting the dunks. And something else that happened in this dunk session that has only happened when I'm feeling sore or just not feeling the most explosive that I can be, and that is I'll usually have one or two or more attempts where I actually run up to go for a jump, and then I'll just completely stop and I won't jump at all. And I feel like that's just when I don't feel like I can completely gather myself and go vertical. And I think that's partly because I didn't take enough recovery time and I just didn't feel strong enough to explode. So lastly, the thing I did want to take away from this dunk session was that in the attempt that I made, I noticed that I had more control throughout the entire approach, and then on my gather I just felt more stabilized, and then my takeoff I just went more vertical than I did in the previous attempts. So that's going to be the main takeaway, is just to try not to lose as much momentum going forward and stabilize on my takeoff and just have more control throughout the entire approach. But I think that's going to come with just having more rest and being fully recovered before the next session. So that's it for this commentary. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.